The story kicks off with a young man caught in the grip of a vivid nightmare. In it, he remembers the exact moment he collapsed on his 5th birthday. The scene then sharply cuts to a different memory. An older man, covered in blood, falling to the ground. The image is haunting, hinting at a traumatic event in the past that still lingers. As the vision fades, we return to the present. The same young man, now fully awake and resolute, stands at the center of the room. Around him are several women, all facing him with expressions that range from curiosity to concern. As the dream unfolds, the young man finds himself in the middle of a brutal battle. He's clashing swords with several women, each strike fierce and relentless. Steel meets steel right above his head. Then the scene zooms in. His hand is drenched in blood. It's clear. The fight ended in violence and pain. But then he suddenly realizes something. This scene, it's all too familiar. Straight out of a game he knows all too well. A world he's seen before. In the middle of the nightmare, it suddenly hits him. He's Luke, the villain, the one who meets a tragic end in that exact brutal scene. He jolts awake, drenched in sweat, gasping for air. Still just a child, young Luke stares wide-eyed from his bed, shaken by the terrifying truth. He's not just any character. He's the hated antagonist from the game he knows inside out. He remembers exactly how the game goes. The protagonist, known as the Sword Emperor, is fated to become the strongest swordsman in the world. Right now, he's living his best life at the academy, surrounded by friends, training hard, and slowly falling in love. But his path isn't just about growth. It's about justice. Eventually, he and his companions rise up to take down the evil Duke's family, who are secretly plotting a coup d'etat to seize power. Luke, revealed to be the second son of the Duke, was infamous in the game. People called him a disgusting nickname, the gross, fat toad. That cruel label stuck because of his horrible personality and appearance. He was a manipulator, bullying the protagonist and his allies from the shadows, all while hiding behind the power of his noble family. But the truth? Luke never even had the strength to handle that authority himself. Then it hits him, the reason behind Luke's twisted personality. The game explained it all. His mother died right after giving birth to him. From that moment on, no one in his family paid him any attention. No warmth, no love. Left in the shadows, Luke gave up on training, buried himself in self-hate, and developed a deep inferiority complex. Desperate for his family's recognition, he turned to darkness, committing awful deeds just to be noticed. Even though Luke was born with a natural talent for magic, it never led anywhere. In the end, he was nothing more than a disposable pawn for the Duke, used and then thrown away. Just another character meant to die in the game. Now, faced with the harsh truth of what's to come, young Luke can't help but ask himself, will I really become that gross fat toad in 10 years? That's the same age when the game begins, when both he and the protagonist are supposed to step into their roles. He doesn't want to die. Not like that. Not as him. Determined to change his fate, young Luke makes a bold decision. If he can stop himself from becoming that horrible person, if he avoids those evil choices, maybe, just maybe, he can rewrite his future. And unlike before, he now has a major advantage. He remembers everything from his past life. He doesn't need this family's love or approval anymore. He'll survive on his own terms. First, Luke tries to stay positive. After all, he's a noble now. He figures he won't have to worry about money, and maybe he can live a calm, happy life. But that thought doesn't last long. Reality crashes back in. He remembers exactly who his family is, twisted, power-hungry, and destined to be wiped out in a brutal purge. If he stays weak, he'll go down with them. The only way to escape their fate is to become strong enough to protect himself. Then Luke remembers something from the game. He was supposed to have a natural talent for magic. That sparks his curiosity. But how do you even use magic without a game interface? He closes his eyes, focusing hard, trying to feel something, anything. That's when he senses it. A faint, airy, soul-like energy drifting inside him. Is this mana? He wonders. Luke decides to test it out. He tries casting a spell, simply saying, heal. Then he says it again like a chant. Heal, heal. He suddenly feels a bit better. There's no health bar to check, but something definitely changed. Encouraged, he keeps going, chanting heal over and over, pushing himself to see what happens, until everything fades, and he loses consciousness. The next morning, Luke is shaken awake by his exclusive maid, Syrup. She's a 12-year-old dog beast man, loyal and energetic. With a wag in her tone, she asks, "Young master, how are you feeling today?" Luke blinks slowly, still groggy. He feels drained, but the sickness is gone. Luke starts piecing things together. He figures he probably ran out of mana, maybe enough for about 10 heals, he estimates. It's clear now. If he wants to survive in this world, he needs to learn more about magic. Ideally, he'd have a tutor to guide him, but he knows that's not happening. His father would never bother with that. So, like it or not, he's on his own. It's time to dive into self-study. Luke hands Syrup a thick, complex book titled Magic Fundamentals and asks her to read it to him. Syrup blinks, surprised. "Wouldn't you rather start with a picture book, young master?" But Luke shakes his head. "I want to learn magic." Moved by his determination, Syrup smiles warmly. "All right then, I'll help you." She doesn't stop there. She promises to teach him how to read and do math too. With a proud grin, she declares, "You can count on me." With a wag in her voice, Syrup cheerfully suggests, "Why don't we start training too? Dog beast men love to move." But Luke, trying to match her energy with a polite smile, gently declines. "Maybe later." So Syrup shifts gears. She opens Magic Fundamentals and starts reading aloud. The book is dense, packed with complex terms, but Luke follows along without missing a beat. Eyes wide, Syrup can't hide her surprise. "You're really understanding all these long words?" Luke just nods, focused and determined. Luke nods confidently. "I'm doing fine." Syrup pauses, tilting her head. "Am I really helping you, young master?" Her voice is unsure, but Luke's calm reassurance says it all. As their study continues, Luke begins to piece it together. Mana isn't just something inside him. It's a clear, invisible energy floating in the air all around. He realizes that how much mana a person can use, and how strong their spells become, depends entirely on their natural talent. After confirming his magical aptitude, Luke makes an important discovery. He can activate heal just by imagining mana flowing through him, repairing his body. He learns that casting magic isn't about flashy chance. It's all about visualization. You direct the mana where you want and imagine the effect. As he continues studying, Luke comes across a key concept. Magic is divided into two types. Tributeless magic, the most basic form. Flexible, simple, and easy to learn. And tribute magic, more powerful but harder to use. It requires special talent and is usually reserved for nobles. Luke wonders, with his family's strong bloodline, could he master tribute magic too? As night falls, Syrup continues caring for him with quiet devotion. Fluffing his pillow, tucking him in, and gently saying, "Don't worry, I'll keep you safe." A year passes. Luke looks back on where he started, how using mana used to knock him out cold from sheer exhaustion. It was rough, but now, things have changed. Through daily training, pushing himself to use up every last drop of mana, his overall capacity has grown. Slowly but surely, he's getting stronger. He throws himself into his studies too, mastering how to read and absorb complex magic theory. All the while, one thought drives him forward. "I won't become the gross fat toad. I'll change my fate no matter what." Still, there's one thing that frustrates Luke. There's no magic tutor in their small annex. He's been on his own from the start. Then he takes a hard look at his in-game future appearance. And it hits him. Acne, blemishes, warts, cracked skin, obesity, a complete health disaster. Determined not to end up like that, Luke sets a new priority, his health. And it starts simple. Step 1, washing his face. Luke is stunned. In this world, people don't bathe or even wash their faces daily. To him, that's unthinkable. As the bubbles cling to his hands, he stares at them in awe, like it's magic. "This is incredible," he mutters. When he mentions having delicate skin, Syrup tilts her head in confusion. But seeing how serious he is, she nods. "If it's that important, I'll learn it too," she says, ready to follow Luke's brand new skincare routine. And so, their skincare journey begins. Twice a day, like clockwork, soap, face lotion, body lotion, moisturizer, and sunscreen. Luke takes it seriously, treating it like a ritual. As he pats in the last layer of cream, he sighs to himself, "One day, I'll be rich enough to afford the high-class stuff." A villain with a skincare routine? Luke's rewriting more than just fate. Luke's health journey keeps going strong, with Syrup right by his side. She helps him bathe, all while cheerfully reassuring him, "If you keep this up, your skin will be baby smooth in a year. You'll grow up to be a real beauty." Luke, However, struggles to adjust. The bathing customs in this world are very different from what he's used to. Still, he powers through because changing fate means starting with the basics. Now looking noticeably healthier, Luke reflects on something important. He used to feel terrible after every meal. That's when he decided to make a change. Early on, he started cooking dishes from his previous world, realizing the food in this world just didn't sit right with him. And sure enough, once he began preparing his own meals, his health took a major turn for the better. Sometimes survival starts in the kitchen. Luke built himself a brand new daily routine. No more sleeping in. He wakes up early now, stepping outside to soak up the morning sun in the quiet forest near the annex. He even started walking and doing light exercise. And right beside him, Syrup, cheering him on every step of the way. Little by little, he's turning his life around, from villain to vitality. Even with Syrup constantly nudging him to start real training, Luke stands his ground. "I really don't like working out," he says flatly. "Honestly, I'd rather move as little as possible." He still wants a healthy, easygoing life, but without the sweat and soreness. Syrup crosses her arms, not having it. "If all you do is eat and sleep, you'll end up awful again." Luke shrugs, but deep down he knows she's right. But every time Luke glances at that dreaded picture, his future self as the gross fat toad, he clenches his jaw. He refuses to believe that's his destiny. "I've got potential," he tells himself. "I want to grow up handsome." No matter how hard he tries, he just can't picture himself turning into that bloated, miserable version of who he's supposed to become. While soaking in the bath, Luke lets his thoughts drift. Sure, living an easygoing life sounds great, but that kind of lifestyle would leave him with way too much free time. He imagines it, going to amusement parks or casinos every single day. First, it sounds fun, but then he frowns. Wouldn't that get boring fast? Luke realizes that true leisure only feels special when it's not constant. Too much of anything, even fun, can turn dull. Luke has come to a sobering realization. Even though he was born a noble, there's no real safety net for him. The way his father treats him makes it clear, sooner or later, he'll be discarded. Unlike the game version of Luke, who wasted his privileged upbringing and caused his own downfall, this Luke is thinking ahead. He starts planning for the future. Maybe he could find a wife who'll support him, or at the very least, find a stable source of income. That way, he can live without worry, even if marriage isn't an option. He's determined to make smart choices, avoid unnecessary suffering, and use his noble background for something better this time. Luke recalls how the game's story was divided into two major arcs. The first, the war arc, filled with chaos, battles, and cleaning up the mess caused by villains. The second, the Academy arc, where romance blooms and characters grow stronger through training and friendships. And Luke knows one thing for sure. If he wants to survive and thrive in this world, he has to master both. That's his way forward. Luke figures something out. If he skips enrollment at Alessa's Royal Academy, his chances of surviving shoot way up. After all, in the game, that's where most of the chaos happens. The original Luke only really plays a major role during the Academy arc. But even knowing that, Luke still has a reason to go. And it's not just curiosity, it's something important. Something he can't ignore. The Royal Academy is where all the beloved characters from the game will gather, and Luke genuinely adores them. That alone makes the risk worth it. In the end, Luke makes it clear. He just wants to be a happy slacker and enjoy this world as his new self, Luke. When Syrup keeps insisting he train in swordsmanship for self-defense, Luke picks up on her obvious love for swords. With a sly smile, he asks, "Why should I learn swordsmanship when I've got you to fight for me?" Syrup blinks in surprise, then breaks into a grin. "All right, I'll take care of the sword fighting." And just like that, Luke hands over the blade, figuratively and literally, to her. The next morning, even though Luke keeps turning down Syrup's persistent offers to exercise, he finally admits some movement is necessary to stay healthy. But instead of working out himself, Luke gets creative. He invents a new spell. The result? A blob-like creature he names Val. A unique, attributeless magic creation. Val's job? To handle Luke's physical training for him, even while he sleeps. Now that's what Luke calls efficiency. Luke explains that all attributeless magic works by transforming mana into whatever shape or function the caster imagines. To show just how useful his creation is, he casually commands Val to fetch him some water easy. But the real test, Luke tells Val to cover his body while he sleeps and work out for him. That's right, Luke figures out a way to train without moving a muscle. Peak laziness meets peak genius. Syrup stares in disbelief. To her, this spell just made exercise look way too easy. Luke, now wide awake, grins and agrees. He's honestly impressed that Val can move entirely on its own. For the first time, Luke feels truly satisfied. He can finally train, without sacrificing his easygoing lifestyle. Sure, he wakes up the next day with sore muscles, but to him, that just means it's working. Everything is right on track. As a growing kid who just started training, Luke finds himself constantly hungry. There's always something more to do. Luckily, Syrup shows up with dessert in hand. Luke digs in satisfied. In that sweet moment, he reaffirms his ultimate dream. To live life as a lazy, villainous noble. But hey, even he admits, too much moderation? Yeah, that's no fun either.